Yay. Okay, there she is. Yay, finally. We weren't going to give up. We knew we'd get you in here eventually.
Yeah.
Okay, the person we've all been waiting for is now here. And I will allow her to introduce herself. We've read uh, the announcement, and everybody just is anticipating what we're going to learn today. Yana, you have the floor.
Oh, okay. Everybody, I wish I can see your faces or comments, but I can't.
You should see the comments in there's a comment section. Do you
Okay.
see it? It's not
Yeah.
private chat, it's comments.
Okay, good. And I want to apologize, first of all, for being here tardy. I was ready to go, but the link wasn't working. And
That's
I
okay.
tried
You're here now.
that.
You're here now.
Yeah, so I'm here in Oaxaca, Mexico, and it's absolutely beautiful here. And I'm honored to share my experience, what I call Oaxaca through my eyes.
Okay. So first, let me ask you, how did you come to live in Oaxaca in the beginning? And how long have you been there?
A good question. I have been here since July 2020, so I'm coming up on my 1 year anniversary, and I'm excited. and uh, quite frankly, it was a dream that brought me to Oaxaca. In 2019, I kept receiving reoccurring dreams of abuelas calling me from the mountains to come. And so Oaxaca was on my list of a place to go. You know, Spain, France, you put your list. And then, of course, when our travel was restricted, I and the U.S. was going crazy, I
Yes.
said, "We just cross over, and so here I am. I crossed over from San Diego,
Okay.
and there's a way to cross because the border to Mexico was never ever closed, and crossing through San Diego, what's called a cross-border express, just lets you just cross right over. Simple, was easy, it was welcoming. I was traveling when most people were not traveling, so there was hardly anyone around in the airports. And then here I am. I've been here since. I thought I would be here 3 months, and it's a year.
Wow. So you obviously like it. So what do you like about Oaxaca? For those of us, I think I explained to you, a third of us haven't decided, and we're just in the beginning stages of looking for that special place. And then some of us are, about another third are in the last stages and have kind of narrowed it down, but still are open to new places. And so that's what I do here, is invite people from all over the world to tell us, give us their perspective on where they live right now.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And what I didn't say was thank you, Deborah, for inviting me to share my
So,
experience. What
so
I love about Oaxaca, first I want to say that I am a Puerto Rican woman of color, and I am indigenous, and I speak Spanish. And um, the and I've been in Mexico a couple of times doing missionary work, actually more than a couple of times. I would do it every weekend for several years. I would cross the border and do some missionary work. And I also taught as a bilingual Spanish English teacher to Mexican children. So I had an affinity between my culture and this culture. And so when I came across the border, and I was so warmly welcomed immediately, warmly welcomed. As soon as I crossed the border, the stress from the US, which I didn't know I had, was gone, and I was welcomed, and I felt safe, and I felt comfortable. Where I ended up moving, this house I'm in now, the whole, what they call a privada, is safe. The volunteer chief of police is down the street, and you wouldn't know he is because he's the gardener, he's the driver. You wouldn't know.
that's a different life to us.
Yeah, yeah. So you wouldn't know. He's like kind of low key. He used to manage restaurants in New York. And so I ended up being in this community a little close to the mountains. So I'm not right in the city, which I don't, me personally, I don't like cities, even though Oaxaca City is amazing. I mean, it's over the top. But here in this community, I've been welcomed. I walk down the street and there are people that look like me with my little trencitas. Um, and because I know a little bit of the culture and there's that familiarity between Puerto Rico and Oaxaca, they look in my eyes and recognize me. I look in their eyes and I see my grandmother, my grandfather, my great grandmother, great grandfather. And so those, just the welcoming, and here's the other thing, ladies, feeling safe.
That's it. That's what
Safe,
it's all about.
to me, safety is like the number one. As a professor, as a teacher, as a counselor, as a minister, as a therapist, all of that, safety is number one. And as soon as I came over the border, I felt safe. And I didn't
Safer
know.
than you felt in the U.S. Yeah.
Safer than the US. And I always lived in nice neighborhoods, but we don't know how much we're carrying until we get out of the US.
Yeah.
And safety is important. Thailand is very safe as well because that's a Buddhist community, Buddhist country.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in peace, so it's pretty relatively safe.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I felt very, very safe here and welcome. And I thrive. I thrive. I'm surrounded by nature and culture and music and different classes of people, my original language, and it just feels good. But safety is number one. If it's not safe, I'm out. I'm not.
Yeah, doesn't matter how beautiful it is if it isn't safe. So, in terms of, so are you still on a visitor's visa?
I am, and I'm going to be filing for residency. I love this place so much, and I'm like, oh, this feels like home.
Mm-hmm.
It actually felt like home as soon as I arrived, and I was surprised, and I've traveled the world, I've lived in a lot of different places, and the only place that felt like home was my grandmother's home. So here I am. She's long gone, but here I am. I'm like, oh shoot, this feels like home. Feels very familiar.
What are some of the other places you've traveled to, just out of curiosity?
Oh gosh, well, Thailand. I did my 2 summers in Switzerland and the Alps, working on my doctorate. Uh, I've been to Italy. Let me see, where else in Europe? Egypt. Egypt is amazing, ladies. Got to go to Egypt because then you'll remember again familiarity. You see yourself, and they know you, and you know them. Egypt, Thailand, Cuba is amazing. Dominican Republic, Dominican Republic. My family's from Puerto Rico, so I'm in and out of Puerto Rico. Canada. Who else? I can't remember. I wish I had known. I would have a list. There's more places than that, though. Yeah.
They're great. I mean, that
Oh
rock.
yeah. What's also beautiful is I've been to. I'm going to the Caribbean. St. John, St. Thomas, St. Croix, a little island off of Haiti. Just different, nice, beautiful places I've been to.
So, are you still traveling or planning to travel in the future, as far as visiting?
I am planning to travel, but right now I'm actually anchoring my home here, and so this is my base, and I want to make sure that I could focus home energy into this here, and I plan to buy land here, and I plan to build a house here,
Wow.
and so
So you're laying down the roots.
yeah, I'm doing some spiritual work here too. So the land, the house, it's all part of welcoming others who, value spirituality, value the land, value indigenous cultures. Uh, so yeah, and then I'm going to be traveling around Mexico. Mexico's beautiful.
I know.
Over the
Most people don't realize how big Mexico is.
huge,
three,
huge.
three Texas. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Three.
Texas and pre-California, because that was all Mexico.
Yeah. 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 There was a question. Okay. In turn, people would say visitor's visa. Okay. So with your passport, did you have to get the visa in Mexico or did you get it before you left the States?
No, you get the visa. I'm on a tourist visa, and so once you get to the airport, they give you a visa when you're getting ready to enter, Mexico. So let me see,
Okay.
where? Yeah, just as because I came in through San Diego, and there's a cross-border express, a little bridge you walk over, and as soon as it got to the
Hmm.
Mexico spot, you just fill it out. 1, 2, 3. It's easy. If you're coming towards Oaxaca, it's easy. If
Okay.
you come
Good. Yeah, because
Oaxaca,
some other places it's not so easy. You have to go to the consulate before, and especially if you're getting like the pensionata visa that some countries offer. I don't think does Mexico have such a thing as a visa for retirees.
I don't know that question, but I
Okay.
do want to say this. I don't know the answer, but I do want to say this. I've noticed that the retirees, it's easier for them to become a resident than non-retirees. And that's because there's this consistent income coming in. It will be income based, but I haven't gone through the process myself, and I'm not even, I don't even have anyway. So when you're doing that, my sense is that it's easier. The
Yes, I'm reading
qualification.
the comments, and they're saying yes, Mexico does have one. I can't see who said it because you might type in your name because before the call you didn't give StreamYard permission to use your name. But someone said yes, it does, and then Theo says we do have a visitor's visa. I want to go to different areas. And someone asked, why did you not feel safe in the U.S. or
Well,
as safe as you feel now?
what is the question?
Why did you not feel safe before?
Well, I've been attacked in the U.S. So it's again, in a nice neighborhood, and I had a stalker, and they decided they wanted to do their thing. So, out of the blue, I'm being attacked. So,
Wow. Yeah.
um,
And in
now,
America, they always think that because it's a nice neighborhood in America. I think people um, just assume nothing's going to happen, even though we see it every day on the television. And the phrase that always comes out of their mouth is, not in our neighborhood. We never expected this in our neighborhood. Like criminals don't have cars, Even in gated communities, people who want to get in can get in.
they get in, and that was a long time ago. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I've been robbed. I've had, again, in a nice neighborhood. In the middle of the night, my door, knocked down, and that happened a couple of times.
Wow.
And yeah, so I mean, I'm really careful in that way, not vigilant, but very careful. And let me see, I can give you dozens of examples of why I don't feel as safe in the US. And
Okay.
there's a lot that is going on that people just get used to.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that that's aggression, and that that's not appropriate. And the more that I see these mass killings and all the stuff that happened, when all the stuff started happening, last year, woo,
In the last 4 years. And there was another one today, and you don't realize the anxiety that just builds up when you hear that. I mean, there was, I don't know whether it's North Carolina, Georgia, or whatever, but someone shot a cashier just because she asked them to wear a mask. You know, we're just so angry. I think it's the anger. And, I love the United States. It's my homeland. It will always be my homeland because, you know, my ancestors were slaves. So we've been here generations after generation. I think both you and Suki um, are first time Americans, because I'm Puerto Rico, not being part of the US, but it was easier for you perhaps to leave than it is for us to leave. But I think we've grown accustomed to the tension. I was reading a book where it said just about every African American, if that could be diagnosed as post-traumatic stress, complex post-traumatic stress, because we have generations of tension just built up, and we just carry on. And that's one of the things that I've heard time and time again from having the opportunity to speak to people who have left and are living in Panama and Costa Rica and St. Lucia and Rwanda, and I mean, you name it. And the first thing they say is, it was just the energy. There wasn't a negative energy in the air. I didn't have to notice people noticing me.
Noticing you or disregarding you.
Yes.
People,
Yes.
I mean, that one is bad. When you're walking down, when you're in a room or walking down the street and you're just totally dismissed, disregarded, that's like a child. Imagine a child in a home and, everybody's accepted. But because you're a little bit different, whether it's the color of your skin or your hair or whatever, there's some kind of ridiculous thing, you're ignored. And ignoring a human being is one of the worst things that could happen to a human being.
Oh,
We all,
yeah. It absolutely is. And when we see it happen to someone who looks like us, like the George Floyd thing, and the whole world, I think we were shocked that the whole world joined in and protested, saying that's not right. We kind of had grown accustomed to of hearing about the brutality, but to actually see it happening live. And then for me, it was seeing the response of the whole world chime in. Places that we call undeveloped countries were saying that's cruel and inhumane. I mean, that's murder. And Shelley says it was Georgia. Shelley Williams. She was saying it was in Georgia where the person left the cashier in the broad daylight, went back to his car, got a gun, came back and killed the cashier, and had a shootout with the security guard because he didn't want to wear a mask. So, how did Mexico handle the COVID pandemic? And were there people refusing to wear masks as much as it was here in the US?
I have to. I'm going to talk about the mask, but let me go back to the George Floyd.
Yes.
There's murals. There's the Oaxacans. Now I don't know about the rest of Mexico. Oaxaca has the highest population of indigenous. That's number one. Number two, we have one of the highest Afro Mexicano, Afro Indigenous, Afro Mestiza population. So, and the Oaxacans here are very, there's pictures of George Floyd and Angela Davis, and these are murals. People painted them.
Wow.
There's a
They
mural.
care. They care about us. Yeah.
Yeah.
As fellow human beings.
Yeah.
Not as Black people, as fellow human beings.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The murals, there's one mural on the Palestinian Israel thing going. And so when you see yourself reflected by a culture in their art in a very positive way.
Yeah.
Very uplifting way. And the poetry that goes with it, the words that go with it, it's we're celebrated. I have to just say this also, and then we'll go to the other question, COVID. I've had visitors here, people of color, and there are other expats, and first of all, anywhere I go, I'm celebrated. Me personally, me as a woman, anywhere I'm going, they call me Doña. Is a very high title. It's not. It's more than it's a title of honor. Uh, so they call me Doña. That's the one thing. And then, where I go, you could see in their eyes they're like celebrating me. And I was walking with one of the gentlemen who lives here, German, and people were stopping. Mexicans were stopping, beeping horns, smiling, slowing down, celebrating us. I had one of my I teach spiritual classes, and one of my students came to visit. Tall, handsome young man with dreadlocks, dark, beautiful skin, looks like a king walking down the street. And I told him, I said, when you're walking with me, you gotta walk like a king, okay? So let's. And people want to take our pictures. Women were trying to get on his lap, but it was like, to be celebrated as you're walking down the street, or eating at the cafe and someone's taking doing a drawing of you. You can notice that they are celebrating us. Now, those who are how you call it, less melanated tone, if I could say it like that, expats
Yeah.
who are kind of older,
Yes.
retirees are a lot of them are nasty.
Yeah.
There's some of them who really do have that sweetheart, and there's a good bunch of them who are nasty. And so, when they see me, they just, like I said, disregard. They'll just,
Oh yeah.
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 So it's interesting. But however, the Mexicans here, the Oaxacans, they don't like that racism stuff. They won't go for it. They won't go for it. So,
Yeah, because that's not part of their culture, and they don't want that to be part of their culture. I was reading, it was some poem that said, you left from where you were to come here, so don't bring what you left back there here, because then it wouldn't be any different. If you come
right.
here, embrace our culture, you don't, and learn of it and show us your culture,
Yeah.
in terms of getting along, not in terms of isolation and a class system
Yeah.
and things of that
Yeah.
nature.
Well, this here, just a little tip. What I noticed is that it's not about the color of the skin. I mean, they celebrate us, but
Mhm.
it's class.
It's class. It's
Who
not
you
race. Yeah.
who you are. If you lead as a professional, if you lead with kindness, if you learn some Spanish and you want to be involved in the culture, you're in. You're in. It's just so COVID. You were wondering how we handled it.
Yeah.
There was no battle about wearing masks, not wearing masks. The government said you gotta wear the masks, and the people wore the masks, except for the indigenous who live up in the mountains.
Okay.
They don't trust the government. The indigenous, the native, right? And they use their own plant medicines and herbs, and they close themselves off in their villages and pueblos in the mountains, and it would only maybe send one person down to do some commerce. But
Okay.
I never ever have seen one of them wearing a mask, and
Okay.
no one has ever bothered them. But everybody else wears a
What-
mask.
But then they voluntarily isolated themselves. They didn't come down and
Exactly.
antagonize those who were wearing masks.
Yeah, they voluntarily, they're just starting to come out now. They isolated themselves and took their medicines. Not to say that none of them were affected by this plague, but I was just really impressed how they handled it, because it wasn't this crazy. I mean, the U.S. was crazy and polar. Ugh, it was too
Okay.
much.
Hermosillo is in Sonora, Mexico, and she said she felt very safe during the lockdown protocol.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, somebody's here from Mexico. Yeah. I was,
And
and when I came through,
yeah.
I did 2-week quarantine. I wasn't ill. I had no signs, nothing to make me even think that I'm a very, very healthy person. But in respect to my neighbors and the community and the country that was embracing me, I just did a 2-week quarantine. I just stayed in. You know, I had somebody go shopping for me, and I let the beautiful nature heal me because I didn't even know I needed healing from that crazy stuff that was happening. And by the way, I love Puerto Rico and I love the USA.
Mhm.
I'm, you know,
Yeah,
it's so
yeah.
good.
You can love them both. It's not either or. It's we have choices and we're exercising those choices. I have quite another question. Some person says, and I can't see your name. That's why I'm calling you some person. That sounds interesting. You call it celebrating us, but in other countries like China, people have called that same behavior stopping and taking pictures or annoying and othering us. Please elaborate what makes you feel celebrated versus what others have found offensive.
Well, as far as celebrating, you know, when a car stops and they wave at you and they're smiling and they're tooting their horn, I mean, that's to me, that's a celebration.
Yeah, because in China, it's not smile, it's laughing and poking and taking pictures like see me with this character here without sometimes even asking. I think people can sense where if they're being othered and sense if they're being celebrated and embraced, but I don't want to put those words in your mouth. That's
Yeah,
what I
I don't know what's happening in China,
yeah.
and but for me, and from what I've seen and personally seen and experienced, I
Hmm.
have, I have been celebrated. And when someone wants to take a picture of me and my colorful thing with my, you know, I like to collect flowers in my colorful basket.
Hmm.
I don't see, and they ask me, I don't see a problem with that. And then we have this incredible dialogue. We have these people stop, they ask, they're big old smiles, and they want to engage in this dialogue with me.
Hmm.
And, you know, where are you from and what's going and, you know, what's happening, you know, and it's so beautiful. So um, that's my response.
Okay. Now I'll let you go on. We've asked questions, but I want you to go on with what you wanted to tell. Okay, in terms, you said safety was number one. A lot of us concerned about healthcare and affordability of and access to it.
Okay, great. And I know Suki covered a lot of this.
Yes, she did. Yes, she
She's
did.
the resource queen. We work together. That's
Yes.
my first, you know, she's
Uh-huh. So she gave us her experience, and it was absolutely wonderful. She was saying the doctor spends so much time with you, learning you, that sometimes you have to say, "Oh well, I have to end this and go somewhere else," because the doctor is just willing to sit there and find out more about you because they're not pressured by the confines of insurance companies and numbers of people they have to see per day.
Oh yeah, I've had. Let me give you three medical dental experiences. And by the way, ladies, the way the lifestyle is different. First of all, so you're not going to be, you know, the body's not. You're going to have a. You're going to be healthier. I'm actually much more healthier. I have a lot more Kundalini energy going. That yumminess that makes us juicy because of the food, because of the air, because people are welcoming. But I had my first experience. So we have really, really good healthcare here. Now, I I don't have insurance here yet, so I'm still working on that. But I had the experience personally with one of my visitors who came. They weren't forthcoming that they had a medical issue
Okay.
that literally had like about a 70% chance of them ending up in an emergency room. That's how critical the situation was.
That's something you might want to
It's
share.
not fair, especially after I asked all these questions, especially around medical. And of course, you know, the first is, can I tell this story? Because it's actually a miracle
Yes,
story.
please do.
So they get off the plane here in Oaxaca, and I noticed that this person's leg is turned in, the knee is turned in, the leg is turned in, they can barely walk, and they need my help. I'm only 4'11". That person like 6'4". And now I'm shocked. I was like, what the heck? And then they just before they came, like an hour before they got on the plane, they said, hey, is there a way to see a health practitioner while I'm there? I said, what for? Oh, I just wanted to find out, how the health thing is before I come, and I want to come and see if I can live there. So that's how they got off the plane, and they couldn't walk but 5 minutes without sitting down, huffing and puffing. And I'm like, this is not cool, because I had a whole plan, a whole itinerary plan, and so now I'm the caretaker. The next day, in the work that I did do a little healing work on them. Their legs straightened out, and they were able to stand tall. So that is a miracle in itself. In less than 24 hours, that happened. The third day, they said, I'm in a lot of pain. I need to go to the emergency room, please. A really, really painful experience they were having. And I called my team, because I have a whole team here. I have a whole support system here. And, I said, hey, I've got this visitor. And they got on the phone with the local doctor, and then called back and said they will be there at your house in 45 minutes.
What you mean is you got on the phone.
I got on the phone
with the answering service, who then transferred it to the doctor, nurse, who then called you to explain it to her, because you'd already explained it to the answering service, and she took it down, and she said that she would send that information on to the doctor and his associates, and you would either hear back from her, or maybe one of the doctors will call you in 48 hours.
That's the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you scared me there. This doctor, I get on the phone with my main connection here. He says, I'll get right back to you. He did. Within a minute, got right back to me. He said, the doctor will be there in 45 minutes. This is a Sunday. Sunday is family day. That's when the families are together. That doctor was here in his jeans and his, his thing, and his satchel, and treated my friend, gave him the injection he needed, and here's the other thing. They didn't just give him the injection he needed for the pain, the inflammation. He got vitamin B, the whole package, the whole injection. I gave him vitamin B. The doctor came 3 days in a row, gave him that injection. After the first injection, my friend was like, woo, I want to go running, But the third day he was up, and it was just so fabulous to see the care that we were attended to. And that only cost, those 3 visits only cost $500. I mean, not 500, 500 pesos. 500 pesos, not $500.
It's $25?
500 pesos.
So that's like,
so it's 20 to 1. Yeah.
So about $25, $25 to $30.
Yeah, about 500 pesos. Each injection he got, that he needed to be treated also included vitamin B complex, megadose. So that was number one. And I was like, holy Toledo. And then monitoring, taking the temperature, he had to get a couple of prescriptions that cost him like $5 for everything, maybe not even that, maybe 30 pesos, So that's a perfect example of being well cared for here. So if you have a medical issue, I'm not saying come here and get it treated. I'm just saying that this is the quality of care. My second experience was dental. In the States, the dentist wanted to take out 8 teeth. And I'm joking. I'm like, you're kidding me. You want to take out 8 teeth. You're not talking about filling this cavity, 8 teeth. And then I said to him, well, you know, I'm still a vibrant woman. I'm not going to be going around like, no way. I'm going to
He
be
was
so
ready to
mad,
fix me for
right?
dentures, you
With
know.
dentals and dentures and all. I got to take them out before you make love. And I'm like, that's not happening. I went to the dentist here by recommendation, and wow, she she did a consultation, didn't charge me. She stayed with me for 2 hours, full consultation, wrote everything down, and she said, "What would you like to get done today?" And I'm looking, I'm like in shock, you know, because I'm looking at the prices, and I'm like, wow, this is, you know, my mind couldn't compute that it didn't read $150,000, you know. And I said, do you have to take these teeth out? She said, no, no, no. We believe in restoration of the teeth, keeping the teeth, not pulling them out. So, so I already had one, two, three. I already had 3 teeth restored, and it cost me, and that's resin, everything. These were like broken down,
Yeah.
and I believe it cost me 1,000 pesos for 3 teeth restored.
$50. $50.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I'm coming to get dental work done.
Yeah. And I have 2 more that, you know, and the reason why my teeth are like that is because, you know, I'm like, man, my dental care is going to be expensive. I can't afford that. I can't even afford to go get the consultation, you know. And so my next, I'm going to have 2 more. In fact, tomorrow, 2 more teeth restored. They're still there. And I said, what do you need to do? You need to pull them. She says, no. She's going to restore 2 more. That'll cost me about another 50.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's
That's worth the trip because the dentist here will do one procedure and put you off for a couple of months and then come back to do another procedure. And I mean, it's just constant out of your pocket and constant the next one. You can't get several done at the same time.
I know, and the dental insurance that I was paying for wasn't. I had to put all this money into this
Yes.
insurance before I could get taken care of some things I needed to take care of after a year. Here, I just go in, pay cash, they take care of it.
Wow.
So it's affordable. In fact, it's so affordable that I'm actually going to do some cosmetic dental work.
So Theo says, I have a list of people I want to meet when I get to different places. Ayanna, you're on my list.
Oh, my pleasure. You know, it all coordinates. It'd be lovely to meet up. Have, you know, I'll show you Oaxaca through my eyes. And
Wow. Okay, go on. Okay, so we've taken care of the safety and the medicine, the health care. Um, oh, I know in some countries, not all seniors are completely retired, or they have their what we call side hustle or crafts or whatever. They just want to stay active and do something, whether it's um, catering or whatever. Are they free to engage in that type of not going look for a job, but having their own business in Mexico?
okay, so that's a good question. So if you are not a resident, legally, you cannot be doing business, having a job here, because then you're taking money.
Yeah, no job. Yeah, we understand that part. But
So
create business.
So if you have a U.S. based business, a lot of us have, like I do, my businesses are based in the U.S. I'm just in another location doing my thing.
Yes,
I
yes,
keep everything
that's
above
what I
board.
want you to speak to.
Yeah, I
How to
keep
sell
everything. Yeah, so I keep everything above board. I've been doing this. I set up my business specifically to be able to travel the world because I wanted to see my father in Puerto Rico and I wanted my business to still be going. I've been doing this since 2004, and you know it just gets more sophisticated. And because now we see con la pandemia, the craziness that happened in 2020, that this is actually very favorable.
Yeah.
to be able to have your online store or your online business. And then you could do that from anywhere in the world. It could be a side hustle, it could be a main thing. So, so I don't have a problem legally with how I'm doing business. When
Okay.
I return to the States, because my, you got to, with the visitor's visa, you have 180 days.
Hmm.
And then legally, you have to exit. And then you could come right back, which
Okay.
I did in one day, by the way.
Yeah, just
I,
cross the border, get it
yeah, I
stamped
was.
that you left, and then get it stamped that you're back.
I went into the U.S. and back out, and I was left home at 7 in the morning and got through my door at night at 8 p.m. I was like, yes,
You really left and came back.
I sure did, because it was still crazy in the U.S. It was like when they were trying to take over the government, and
God, you mean
and
January 6th? I know.
I was like, I gotta stay legal I gotta be legal in Mexico. That means I gotta go there, and anyway,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
that's what I do. When I return to be legal, I'll go there for probably about 10 days, take care of another business that I'm going to be doing, make sure it's registered legally, and everything is, because if you don't do things legally, ladies, maybe some of you have found out, you could get away with it in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's going to catch up with you later on.
Yes.
I guarantee it's going to catch up to you when
Yeah.
things are going really well.
Yes.
So do things in order, do things legally. And if you have, let's say you're here and you want to start a catering business, or a side hustle, is not a business, maybe it's your hobby,
Yes.
maybe it's your
Yes.
hobby,
Yes.
and maybe it's your hobby that you share with people that look like you, and you let the
Yes.
people that look like you know that you have,
Yeah.
that's how you can get around it. But you got to be careful if you're, if
Do
you're
it right
doing
the first time. Yeah. Set it up correct.
that, set it up
Follow the
correctly.
laws. You don't want. We don't want to leave a country to go and commit a crime in another country. That's no.
Yeah, you want to do it right. I did, out of, I was very inspired to these bags. They are beautiful, authentically woven, traditional from ages bags, colorful, all the come from insects and herbs, and it's just they just first got here, and I saw the woman behind the bag. She's indigenous, and I fell in love with the bags. And I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone's gonna love these bags. I'll sell them to my friends.
Okay.
I was so inspired, and so I started selling. I showed the bags, and people, I want one, I want one, I want. They were like selling like hotcakes, and then there's the shipping that has to happen, and then the getting the product and the distribution and getting it from here to there, and learned a big lesson, to really study what you're doing as far as business before you do the.
Jumping. Yeah.
Any other questions on it?
Okay. Let's see. Just okay. Let's see.
Now, oh, by the way, if you do hair, like I haven't seen my hairdresser in a long time. I just washed my hair. If you do hair,
Anybody
you
that
would you would have my side
that's
hustle
right. You do head
very
locks.
lucrative
Are there
side.
people will want to know? Are there locticians there? Are there people wearing the sister curls or the twists or locks or whatever? Or
Well,
if they're
but I have the main
how is it
thing.
to use hair care and maintain our hair?
Suki, Suki just connected with an Afro-Mexicana woman here who's studying medicine, who
Mhm.
does braids. So we have someone to do braids.
Yes.
The Oaxaca Black expat community is still small and intimate. It's not like Tulum and Merida. it's got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
Here we have a very intimate, cozy community that's growing. We have those who are innovators, creatives, entrepreneurs, journalists. We have photographers. We have a really, really sharp group of expats here. Film documentary. We have one of the retirees that came because I'm here. A gentleman, by the way, if you're single, he's
Hear that, ladies. There's a ladies group, you know.
yeah, I know, but ladies, a lot of ladies still like men. So,
Yes.
like, so he used to work for the Federal Reserve. He focuses now on bees and bee medicine. He's a researcher. He's so he's a retiree, and now he's going to be creating his own online platform.
Oh, wow.
To bring money in, as he with the retiree part. Yeah, wow. So
that's great. So there's opportunity for us retirees there. Let's see, there was transportation. We learned yesterday that there are Walmarts and Sam's and
Home Depot.
Yes. Now that's more in the central area, the city area.
Actually, it's actually closer to me because we're let me see, it would take me by car about 15 minutes to get to those. But Walmart is really close to me. It's down the hill from me. Okay. The transportation is very how do you call it, accessible. So you have the bus. If you want to take a bus, that's like 8 pesos.
That's $4. Wait, no, that's less.
No.
That's like 40 cents.
Now, wow. 8 pesos is, it's like nothing,
Yeah, not even less than $1.
Yeah, okay. So it's 8 pesos. That's the bus. They have something called a colectivo. That's a taxi where at the most that could be in that taxi is 5. And so that's 12 pesos. Mm-hmm. They have taxis. The taxis, depending on where you're going, it could be anywhere from 50 pesos to 120, 150 pesos, depending on where you're going. And then you have people driving private cars. And El Centro itself is a very walkable city. Very walkable city. I live more outside of El Centro. I live more closer to nature. Okay. There are also bikers. There are people who bike. They bike from El Centro past where I live and back or up into the mountains. People who like to bike. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to get back into biking. With COVID, every opportunity for outside exercise was just pretty much shut down. And that's starting to open back up. So that's a plus. What was I? It was, I understand this is the rainy season now that's going on. Put that in perspective. Is it a downpour every day, all day, or is it showers intermittent through the day?
Right now it's actually raining on and off today. And so we are in the midst of the rainy season, and I came in the midst of the rainy season. It healed me. It was just so beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful. These beautiful clouds that hover over the mountains, and then you have this. The rain is alive, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
So it doesn't stop anything.
Excuse me?
It doesn't stop anything. In terms of you're
going, I'm not going to go out in a downpour.
Yeah, not even.
Downpours aren't all day. Mm-hmm. So let me put this in perspective. So when I came in July, it was on and off, and that was considered the rainy season. It was beautiful, and then it started tapering off. The rain started tapering off, and then it became much like a little bit of rain, sunshine, amazing skies, and then there was no rain. Then you get the dry season. And then when it's so dry, you can't handle it anymore, and you're praying for rain.
We're never It's fine.
The cycle happens, the rain comes, the cycle happens, and it's so beautiful. So, you know, I wouldn't go on a tour in the rain.
Yes.
However, because you know how the rain cycles, most often it's going to start in the late afternoon
Okay.
during the rainy season. Right now, we've had the last 2 days wet. So we are in the rainy season. It's a good thing. We need the rain.
Yeah.
But if you're coming right now, you can still enjoy. You go into cafes when the rain stops. You go.
That's my question. When it
Yeah.
stops, you can still get around. It's
Yes.
fine. Yeah, umbrella. Take an umbrella with you.
You have to
It's
have an umbrella anyway because the umbrella helps us with the sun.
okay.
Yeah, and an umbrella helps us with the rain. The
And
sun. Yeah, the sun is close because Oaxaca is south central, so it's close enough to the border to be absolutely beautiful and stunning, and the air is clear, and it feels good on your skin, but you have to be careful because the sun is so close that you could be out and get a sunburn.
yeah, not realize it.
Yeah.
What's the hottest the temperature range?
Okay, so I'm not in the city. I'm a
Mhm.
little bit off the city. So right now it's ranging in the 70s because of the rainy season. Uh, but I believe probably in a week it'll go up to about 80, 85.
Mhm.
During the dry season, it hits about 80, 85, but it's dry. It's like
Yeah.
dry.
Okay.
So it fluctuates between there. And
I
then
can.
you might have I haven't been here. Let me see. I've been here. The highest it's been about 89 during that dry hot season.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Are there any more questions? Because we're coming up. Oh, we just passed an hour. I
But
don't
I
want.
do have something I wanted to add about
Oh,
Oaxaca.
please
So if there's
do. Go ahead. Yes.
any other questions before I add why I think
They'll be
women.
coming in. I think there's a little delay, so you go ahead and talk, and
Okay.
I'll watch for the questions.
Okay. So everybody has a different experience and reasons why they come and love Oaxaca. And you've heard Oaxaca is, like food is just amazing. Uh, People come for the food. It's known as all around the world, the food, the cheeses, the artisanal cheeses. I'm allergic to cheese in the US. I come here and they're making it. They make it by hand and have no problem. They have all kinds of different cheeses. The food is wholesome. Uh, you eat less and feel better. And because of the food, because there's so much life in the food. People come to Oaxaca for the arts and culture, and it's very high. I mean, there's literally layers and layers and layers and layers of this is handmade. This is, that's handmade. This is a beautiful. This is considered indigenous art. This kind of embroidery. So you have different indigenous arts,
Mhm.
the vases, anything you could use or need. There's traditional ways that people still do it here. This house I'm in was literally made by hand, all the stonework, everything. So you have that. You have the ability to experience deep traditional ways, deep traditional artisanal things that the art, but also practical.
Mhm.
But here's the thing that remember, why did I come to Oaxaca?
Yes.
It was a dream. It
That's
was
right.
a dream of abuelas in the mountains calling. If you are sensitive to the spiritual things or really want to have a greater experience with, I don't know how to say it, it's so magical. The land is vibrant and pulsating. Oaxaca is known, if you ever read the book, one of the Don Juan books, Carlos Castaneda books. Oaxaca is named in that book as being the place where powerful spiritual women live.
Wow.
Oaxaca is interestingly technologically savvy. So we can't dismiss the Mexicans. I mean, they're rocking it with technology. And then you have this layer, the working class. The working class. You have a professional class, but then you have the people who, they're making things with their hands all the time. It's just so beautiful, the layers
Yeah.
and the cultural intricacies that are happening here. If you are at all attracted to even a spiritual pilgrimage, because we have Monte Alban. Monte Alban was the center of social, political, financial, and spiritual. That was the center, and so there's a lot of energy still there. If you have any interest, any leading, a dream, a curiosity. There are women here, including myself, who are powerful curanderas, healers. They do traditional ways. So, and then there's a beautiful, vibrant social scene happening. Jazz, dance. We have an Afro dance teachers here. It's just all of it happening, including all the indigenous dances and songs, the Galaguetza. You have the Dia de los Muertos in October, November. It's just layers of beauty and layers of rich culture that people that honor us, people who celebrate us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not perfect.
Oh yeah, no place
It's
is
not
perfect.
perfect, but here I am. I'm like, oh shoot.
Now you
Okay.
said something earlier. You said you intended to build. Tell us about your residence now. I mean, where you're living now, because of course, want a sense of what it costs to live in Oaxaca and rent.
Yeah, yeah.
And she explained yesterday that you don't have to be a resident to buy, which is wonderful. And that there are places to rent. So and so speak to the cost of living as well as do you see a growing African American senior African American expats retirees? Do you see that growing, and is there anything to stimulate that growth, like tours? I know we had kind of discussed that, or we will be
Wow, those are a
discussing
lot of questions.
that.
You got layers.
Yeah.
Housing is a big thing, right? So our
Yes.
cost of living, my lifestyle dropped. My cost of living dropped. That's a nice thing to have.
Yeah, your
Because
lifestyle improved, and the cost
the
of that
cost of living
improvement,
dropped,
yeah,
I
dropped.
I'm saving all the time. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah.
So the cost of living, the lifestyle increases, the cost of living decreases. Depending on what you want to live as a lifestyle
Yes.
will depend on your choice of where you want to live and how much you want to spend. So that's for the housing. So my house where I live right now, this is where this happened in July 2020. I have a 5 bedroom, 4 bath house. I have
5 bedrooms, four
I have a
baths.
five I have a 5 bedroom, 4 bath house built by hand. It has a studio area that I use for my office. This one I'm using for my art. I have a beautiful garden with fruit trees and herbs and uh, roses, pomegranates, plumerias, and so I have I have 2 levels. I sleep on the top level because I have this incredible view of the sunrise coming over the mountains and the donkeys saying hello in the morning, and the sunset over on that side. And I look and I'm like, huh? So all of that, all of that, my rent when I got here was $500 US. My electric was about 235 pesos for 2 months. That's pesos. So 500 US dollars comes out to about 11,000 pesos.
Mm-hmm.
And then my what else did I pay? That was electric. The gas fluctuates maybe 1,000 pesos for every 3 months.
$50 every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the gas. And my it's funny, my garbage, I put my garbage out, and you want to tip people, right?
Mhm.
So I put the garbage out, they get a 10 pesos, right? You know, 10 pesos. I do that once or twice a week. I have a housekeeper now. I
Okay.
can afford to be generous because the cost of living is down, and I could save. And now I have a housekeeper. I pay her well. I think I'm probably one of the highest paid. I pay her well. She gets 500 plus. If she does something extra for me, 500 pesos plus once a week.
That's $25.
Mm-hmm. Now 500 pesos is,
50.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I've budgeted that, and I'm like, oh, I can afford a housekeeper because I'm
Yeah.
living 2 stories. This is a big house. I
Yeah.
don't want
A bedroom,
to.
4 baths. That's a lot to take care of.
I'm like, I'm doing my business. Let me give somebody a job. Let
Yeah.
me help somebody, right?
Yes.
And then I have a gardener, and my gardener comes in twice a week, and he gets 400 each time he comes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and
20.
then I have transportation. I go here, there. So that's the actual house.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the house.
So
Which is
all your monthly expenses would come to about what?
my monthly.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm living on the side of, I need to save a little bit more money, then my expenses would come out to, and this is including food and transportation, about 700 pesos. I mean, $700 US dollars.
A month.
If I'm going towards I've got a little bit extra,
Yeah.
and who else could I bless? I think I get a
Yes.
facial week, and a
Yeah. Yeah.
massage.
Yeah. So under
Then
$1,000 a month.
yeah, I'm like, maybe it's 850. I'll go to a cafe, go out to dinner. Maybe it's 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that's 9 on the high side, 900 pesos dollars.
It's
That's
on.
to me that's on the high side.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever spent that much here per month. Yeah, so that's the cost of living. Now, saying that, because of what happened in January 2021, when so
Mm-hmm.
many more people were trying to leave the US to come to Mexico,
Yeah.
because Mexico was the easiest way out,
Closest. Yes.
prices went up. So
Mhm.
now people who were paying $3,000 a month for rent in the US, they come over here. Somebody says, hey, here's a 2-bedroom for $900. They think it's a great deal. It's not a great deal.
No. No.
So people coming from the US here are causing the prices to go up in
Yeah.
the rent. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that by December, this house I'm renting will probably go up to about 13,000 pesos, which is
Seven.
still good.
Yeah. Still 700 for a 5-bedroom house. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What I do also, ladies, in case you do want to consider Oaxaca, uh, I'm really careful about creating and developing relationships. And if I see in where I'm living now, or even sometimes in El Centro, an Airbnb or a place that's for rent, because I'm here and I speak the language, I get a different, in, and you got to
Yes.
talk a certain way, and
Yes.
there's nuances. You can't come out strong. You can't come out with aggressive,
Yeah.
U.S. female stuff.
Yeah.
That won't work here. Uh, I look and inspect. I actually go and look and inspect the places, and I say, is this a place that I would want to live? And so I
That's
look,
great.
and
That's great.
if it's a
Yeah,
place I
because
want to
we
live,
need that. Those of us who don't speak the language,
right,
but we don't want to be taken advantage of as
exactly,
well. A lot are coming because the US has priced us out
price
of
this
our
out.
standard of living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
so that
I
that that alone, that service, and that's what I find the the people in different places who are settled there are willing to help us not make those mistakes about throwing money at, because it doesn't help anybody. It certainly doesn't help the indigenous people. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's invaluable.
To
Thank
me,
you for.
it's huge piece of a huge thing to have somebody here who knows the area. My expertise is where I live here,
Mhm.
and if I see an Airbnb, because I'll look at an Airbnb and say, hey, let me look and see what's a good place and what is it pricing at
Mhm.
in El Centro. Well, because I'm here, I do my little message to them. I say, hey, I'm close by. I wonder if I can look at the place before I decide I want an Airbnb. They always say yes
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, because I was considering going toward the end of July. And then they said, oh, it's the rainy season. And I said, oh, well, I'm glad I didn't finalize my trip, but I'm leaning more. I mean, I grew up in Beaumont. It rained just about every day in Beaumont because we're right on the Gulf of Mexico. So I'm not afraid of rain. I don't like tornadoes or hurricanes, but just rain. No, that's enjoyable. So yeah, I
Yeah.
may be visiting you soon.
Oh, good. Yeah. I actually checked them. I just checked out two Airbnbs this week. And I'm like, oh, let me see. I wrote to the person, to the host, and I say, hey, I'm in the area and I'm considering the Airbnb, and can I come and see? And I was glad I went to see. They were beautiful, in a beautiful private property, very safe. Uh, and because I speak the language, I was able to get this deal. I said, hey, if you have a long-term renter, what would it be?
Yes.
Because see, how much would it be?
Mhm.
And then everything drops, and then there's a whole different conversation happening. And yes, most of them say yes. And
Right.
so I'm able to look and I'll say, okay, this place is good for so and so.
Mhm.
Or, oh, I know someone who's coming. I know a little bit about them. This would be good for this person. And my friend, the male retiree who's into the bees, I just got him a let me tell you what he got. I got him a beautiful 2-story loft, modern loft, fully furnished, everything included, with an incredible view, very, very safe. We got it for 7,000 pesos per month. That's what I negotiated for him.
350 US
No,
dollars.
he's paying
Seven
about 4.
400.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's good.
So that
that's
that's
that's what
the
people want to know, because it's like, okay, but can I afford it? Yeah.
can you afford it? Yeah, and you can. You can afford it, depending on what your income is coming in. But most people can afford it. Some people just rent a room. Some people do hostels. Some people
Mhm.
do co. I'm an expert in co-living, co-working as well. That's
Right.
another way of living.
Yeah.
And people
Yes.
think it's just for these young hips and young ones, but it's people like me. I've
Yes.
done co-living, co-working, and lived in those spaces many
Yes,
times.
and that's a big interest with our group,
Mhm.
because shared accommodations, when somebody finally brought it up, it just blew up in terms of people who were saying, yeah, I could afford a nicer place if I shared the expenses with someone. So
Well,
that
I think that conversation is a powerful conversation to have
it
real
is.
soon, because Suki is starting a co-living, co-work space.
Mhm.
That's going to take a while for it to unfold because it's Mexico. You can't,
Yes.
you ain't gonna get it in 3 months. And actually, because my background, one of my backgrounds is co-living, co-working, even though I live here by myself and I like living alone. Uh, Living together in a nice home that is outfitted with everything you need, especially the Wi-Fi, high-speed internet.
Yes.
It's modern and it's safe, and you have your own living quarters and you have a common space. It is awesome. It's very affordable to do, depending on what kind of lifestyle you want. And there's a support and there's a synergy about it. Of course, you have to have some rules so nobody gets,
Yeah. Oh, of course, of course.
yeah, but yeah, it's beautiful. And it's actually one of the plans that I have as well.
Great, great.
Can you afford it? Yes. Depending on your lifestyle, it's a little bit more affordable outside of El Centro because we have a lot, like right now, there's a flood of people coming in because Oaxaca is vibrant.
Yeah.
And as far as retirees, I noticed that there are more women retirees wanting to come to Oaxaca.
Yeah.
And they see me. I'm not a retiree yet, but they see me and they say, "Oh, she's a little bit more mature. She's got a
Yes.
little sense. she's
Yes. Yes.
she's
Yes. A
there.
little
She's been
seasoned.
there. She's been there a year. She's
Yeah.
prospering. She's benefiting." And so now we're getting. And what's lovely about Oaxaca is it's family oriented.
Good.
Right. So we could still have we still have some teens coming in, some young adults coming in who are actually coming in with their families. And then we have the children, we have the retirees, single women like me, young couples that are
So a
here
good
for
mixture. I mean, it sounds like a really balanced community.
Yeah, it is a balanced, rich community because we're also, we got some money. We've got a little bit of money. A lot more than most Mexicans do.
Yes,
So.
yes, because this is still a developing country. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I mean, we kept you for an hour and 23 minutes, and it's been worth every second.
Oh, my pleasure.
So glad that you agreed.
Estamos para servirte, and I could talk about this like forever, but
now I am going to ask you to please send some post some pictures in our group of the scenery from your balcony,
okay.
your garden or whatever, because
Okay.
a picture's worth 1,000 words, and
I can do
love
that.
that inspires us when we see that all that color and richness.
Yeah,
It
I
just
can do that.
the
Yeah,
experience.
this house, I'm about to release it back to the owner, and with it, let me tell you how this works. Oh my God, the owner's coming back, because it's pandemic thing now. They're free to travel.
Yeah.
Back. And I'm not going back to US. Show me my next home. And I prayed about it. Took 3 days to really meditate on it. What do I really, really, really want? And then I said, okay, let me go look. I went to Airbnb and I said, oh man, this one looks nice. And I made that, hey, can I come and see it? And I went over there to see it, and immediately I said that I will know is my home by how I feel.
Yes.
And it has to be a strong yes. It has to be a strong yes from the owner, and a strong yes from me. They loved me. So within half a day, I had a new place, so I'll be moving there, and it's gorgeous.
Oh wow.
It's gorgeous. And the owner is an architect, the wife is they're Mexican. She's a retired dentist. The daughter is an international environmentalist. The son is an anthropologist.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds like a great fit for you.
I'll share pictures from here, and then I'll share pictures from there too, because
Please
it's
do.
Beautiful property.
Please do.
Blessings to everyone. Besitos.
And you too. Thank you so much, and thank everyone who took time to join in. I'm sure you got what you wanted because there are no more questions. Hopefully, I didn't miss any. If I do, just continue to comment because she'll be looking at them. I'll be looking at them because they'll be posted with the video in the group, as well as YouTube. Passportability is my YouTube channel.
Oh, and please, maybe you're coming and you just want to have a good time or meet me or see what Oaxaca's about. Or maybe you're coming and you want to say, oh, is this where wow, can I?
Yeah, I'm planning on it because I'm starting to venture out and see different places, and Oaxaca is so close. Why not start there? So that's a promise.
Wow.
So until we see each other, I'm sure we'll be chatting often. And
We're
I
gonna
look
do a
forward to
tour.
that.
We're gonna do a tour for the ladies, huh?
That's right. That's right. That's right. There's enough interest in the group. We'll do a tour because, yeah, we got a person on the ground that knows her way around Oaxaca. All righty.
Ciao.
Take care. Bye bye.